It's true, Sean.
What are you talking about? What's true?
All of it. You you know all of it. You know it.
So where can I find this truth
On the Pod Bros network because this is a Pod Bros exclusive.
Did you just want to act like Han Solo again?
You know, doing a promotional spot isn't like dusting crops, boy. What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Sean.
And we're speaking the language of bromance. Sean, it's been a minute since we've talked. I'm feeling slightly under the weather. I don't know if it's noticeable, but there's things in my nose, there's things in my throat, and I need you. I need you. I need you to make me feel better.
So, yeah, I mean, getting sick sucks. I think I've done a few shows where I've been under the weather. I mean, because, you know, we're always bringing content, right? That's what we do. Even in the worst of situations, we're bringing in content.
Right. I soldier on. I jack myself up on vitamin C. I jack myself up on ibuprofen. You're supposed, like, half the bottle is the recommended dose, right?
Yeah, you did drink some liquor with that too, right? I think you're
I
supposed
did.
To okay, just making sure.
I did.
So how'd you get sick? Where'd that come from?
I think it was from the boy because it's September. School started.
I've heard them say flu season might come early this year.
Well, I don't know if it's. I don't know. I don't think it's that. It's just school started, and so then I have to deal with all the other little urchins that that my kids decide to share a classroom with, and
where they snot on their hand and then they high five right before lunch.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what happened.
Kids are gross.
Kids are gross.
I've heard they're basically like the perfect petri dish for germs.
They totally are, and then they come home and then they infect their parents. That's you want to know zombie apocalypse. That's how it starts. It starts with the kids.
So basically, Dawn of the Dead had it right. The kid at the end of the hallway.
Exactly. That's how it. That's where the whole thing kicks off. Patient 0, 8 years old, guaranteed.
That's why I'm not allowed back in your house because I'm prepared for that. Like your kid came up to me and he like wiped his nose and wanted to high five. I punched him in the face.
Right.
I was like, I don't know. It could be a zombie. You're like, Sean, he's 12.
I mean, I'm not armed right now, so he got off light.
Your wife was yelling at me, and I told you what was going on. You're like, baby has a point. I mean, you never know.
You could have been. I would have hit him.
And that's why I'm not allowed over at Richard's anymore.
Yeah. That explains the restraining order.
But, Richard, I think I have a story that could sneak me back into your house just to tie all this together. What?
Okay.
You know how to play chess, right? You've played chess before?
I actually do like playing chess. Do you know how to play chess? My father taught me when I was probably like 12 or 13. He had a chessboard. I had a habit when I was a kid of rifling through my dad's things. I don't know. Maybe I was looking for porn. I don't think I was looking for porn.
Dad, what's this big black thing? It doesn't look like a lightsaber.
Well, I'm saying like I don't think I was going in with the intention of looking for porn. I think I was always under the impression that Dad had much cooler stuff than I did, which is true. Like when you're a kid, like your dad has way cooler shit than you do. My dad had a Warhammer fantasy army.
Oh, nice.
And it was all these lead figurines, lead miniatures, and then we're all hand painted. I don't even know how many hours he spent on it.
Did he paint them?
He painted them himself. All hand painted them himself. Who knows how many hours he spent. This giant army, and I'd go and he'd have it sitting on his desk, in his bedroom, and I'd always go in there and I'd see him and I'm like, God, those look cool. I'm like, Dad has cool shit. And so I was rifling through his stuff one day, and I found a chess set, and it was this big elaborate chess set, and he had Roman. It was like a Roman theme one, so all the pawns looked like Roman soldiers.
Okay.
And then all the other pieces looked like it was very kind of one of the more elegant chess sets I've seen.
Yeah, I've watched people play it a few times, but I've never played myself. I think my dad kind of knows how to play, but it's one of those situations that, nobody really want to sit down and explain it to me because not only do you need to know how to play chess, like what the moves are, but you need a strategy.
You do need a strategy.
Like you can't. It's not like checkers. You can't just go in and start jumping people. Like there's a goal that you have to have in mind.
Exactly, and it's not really. I think of it more as don't think about the move you're making. You're trying to think about the move you're going to make.
Yeah.
After they make theirs, and the quote unquote chess masters would, they're thinking 7, 8, 10 moves ahead. Like what's going to happen for them has already happened in their mind. Like they're working on, what's going to happen in the distant future.
So with you being a chess connoisseur of the two, because like whenever you're in a trial, the subject matter expert, like if they call an expert witness, they necessarily don't have to be an expert in the thing. They just have to know more than anybody else in the room.
And that's not always true either.
What's not always true?
That they have to know more than anybody else in the room.
Oh, I thought they did.
I mean, to be qualified as a quote-unquote expert, I'm not exactly sure what that entails. Like, you ever see those people on, like, CNN or Fox News or something, and they say, legal expert or military intelligence expert and stuff, when they do interviews and stuff like that?
Well, that's news, so that's all lies anyway, but this isn't a court of law. I think just an expert, like when you call an expert witness, it just has to be somebody that knows more about the subject than anybody else. On the news, I'm sure it's somebody that, like, pick up off the street, like, hey, you want expert in the front of your name?
Yeah.
Sure.
There's a guy that does that, like, for a living. He's like, John Hodgman did that for a while, where he called himself a professional expert.
He just knew a little bit of everything.
Yeah, he would like hire himself. He would loan himself out to news organizations.
Go to strip clubs, be like, I swear I'm an expert stripper. Let me show you how it's done.
Get over here.
I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. It's like that song's from like 1980.
You pop it, lock it. Yep. Now lock it. No, you gotta pop it. Dance from your vagina. Dance from your vagina.
But since you are in this the bromance, the language of bromance chess expert, have you ever heard of the Turk or the mechanical Turk, or otherwise known as the automaton chess player? Automaton.
I've heard of computers being being chess players. I can't think of what the name of there was a computer that they designed to play chess, and I cannot remember for the life of me what it was called. The term mechanical Turk sounds familiar, but
so what if I told you there was a mechanical chess machine from 1770?
Damn, really? So we're talking 200 years before the invention of what we consider today to be the modern computer.
Yeah, pretty close to it, yeah. This was invented by Wolfgang von Kempelen. Kempelen.
Damn.
So this guy, he's like, he wants to impress the Empress Maria Theresa of Austria.
Oh, see, stay away from Austria. Bad things happen in Austria.
Yeah, well, this is coming up to that point. It's about, 150 years before all the craziness?
Yeah, and also 150 years before the computer, so...
Coincidence?
Yeah.
So he wanted to invent this mechanical machine that would play a strong game of chess against a human opponent. And he basically created like this Knight's Tour. He's like, ba-na-na-na-na-na-na, come see the Turk, ba-na-na-na, on the Knight's Tour, ba-na-na-na-na.
Yeah, it's like extreme chess.
Do you have what it takes to beat the mechanical Turk?
Beat the Turk.
It's like a bunch of people in a beer hall chugging beer, shouting, down with machines, down with machines.
Do it. And then somebody's like, it's going to become self-aware, and then punches it. So what this thing looked like, was it like because like have you seen the movie The Imitation Game?
No, I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
With Benedict Cumberbatch?
Is Benedict Cumberbatch in that? I know
yes.
Batman's in it, and Wolverine's in it, and Jessica Biel's in it. Or am I thinking of something else?
I think you might be thinking of something else.
Imitation Games where Cumberbatch is the first computer, right? To crack the Nazi...
Yes.
Yes, I have seen that one.
Yes. Okay, so So you've seen that machine. It looked like a giant, like a Plinko board. Like, do you remember Plinko from The Price is Right?
Yeah. No, yeah, it's just a big board that keeps spinning.
But yeah, and it's got all these wheels that spin on it, and each wheel is basically like a logic gate. And so it's, it's mechanically figuring out, if then statements, and then produces a result once all the statements are resolved.
Yeah, and they had what, 12 hours to get it figured out or something, because they switched it every 12 hours, the code.
Yeah. But I'm saying, okay, so that's what the Turing machine, I think they called it the Turing machine. That's what the Turing machine looked like. What does this look like?
So the Turk basically looks like those old cabinet TVs from like the early 80s.
Yeah.
So
I was around for those, Sean.
Yeah, I think my parents, that was their first TV they bought. And my grandma and them had it for like years when I go over to grandma's. No remote. You had to push the button to see the TV.
Yeah.
No cable, like 3 channels. Yeah.
It looked like it was a TV, but it was basically like inside a fucking dresser.
Yeah.
It looked like someone had cut out the middle of a dresser and shoved a giant tube TV in the middle of it.
And that's what this looks like. And then there's you remember the character thing from the movie Big?
The character thing.
You've seen the movie Big, right? With
like the
fortune teller.
The fortune. Yeah, I can't think of the name.
Yeah, that's exactly what this. There's like a fake looking thing like this. He's wearing like a robe. He's got a big stick. He's got made of metal looking stuff, and he's on the other side of this table.
So he looks like a fucking robot.
Pretty much, yeah. He looks like a Middle Eastern robot. I think that's what they're going for.
Like a clockwork robot.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This Turk played against, famous people like Napoleon Bonaparte and Benjamin Franklin.
Really?
Yeah.
So no slouches in the brain department.
No. I mean, this guy
Napoleon, Napoleon had his faults when it came to strategy. But Franklin was a smart guy. Super smart guy.
So yeah, the guy Wolfgang von Kepler went on this Knight's tour with this thing, right? I mean, I'm not sure how many guys it'd take to carry it. Like, it's huge. It's not small at all.
It's probably, yeah. Oh my God, how intimidating would that be? Like this fucking like towering fucking monstrosity that looks like a guy but is made out of metal.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised people, like back then, didn't think it was a witch and set it on fire.
Well, keep that in mind, the fire part. But
God.
So they carry this around. It's played against like these famous people, and you would think during this time, like, what magic, this guy's basically inventing the iPhone back in the 1770s, right?
Right, like the 1770s. This is before the invention. This is before the invention of even electricity, and this guy has built a machine that can play chess.
Yeah,
something that we, as human beings, that we don't figure out how to replicate until whenever we built this fucking supercomputer that played chess in like the 70s or the 60s or the 70s.
But you would think during this time, a lot of people should have been more, I don't know, I guess maybe they just weren't smart enough to feel like people were trying to fake them out. So Kepler.
So wait a minute. So you're thinking that they should have been more skeptical?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Because today, like you watch TV and you see like the magic show, like everybody knows that's not real magic, and that's kind of sad, I guess, to an extent. But you see somebody perform an act, like you're not like wowed by like, oh my God, they're wizards, they're witches. This is crazy. I've seen magic right in front of me. You're like, there's a trick. How'd they do it? I'm trying to figure out where'd the rabbit come from.
Obviously, they pull it from another dimension, Sean.
Oh, I'm sorry, Richard. I don't want to blow the illusion for you.
You say illusion, sir. I say reality.
So
how do you think Harry Potter flies on a broomstick?
CGI, probably.
Wait a minute.
Those movies weren't a documentary?
So
Hogwarts isn't real?
No, I've seen it.
Oh, have you? In your dreams?
Yeah. No, it's at Universal Studios. I don't know why they would build a movie studio around an ancient castle, but it's there. And you can go see it and drink butterbeer.
For the low price of $750 a person.
Served by a friendly man named Todd.
Who hates his life and every single one of you fucking Hogwarts people.
Yeah, because we're fucking muggles.
You're not a muggle. I am too.
I'm sorry, Todd.
Todd's sitting there texting to his girlfriend trying to get some nude pics while some little fat 12-year-old asks for a butterbeer.
Yeah. And then he takes his phone and he's like, what magic is this?
He's like, hey, look at this kid.
Ooh, what magic is that? Mom, it made boobies.
You'll figure out when you figure out the spells for puberty. Puberty?
What magic is that?
I think that spell's running through me right now.
Me too.
But no, so Kepler was inspired to build this Turk. He went to the court of Maria, basically the person he was trying to impress, and a guy named Francis Peltier was performing an illusion act. And so after he had exchanged with him, he said, "Listen, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to top your illusion."
Ooh. And he brings out Chess Man.
Yeah, so
wait a minute. Whoa. Okay, so we had all this talk about how blah, 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 magic isn't real. Are you implying to me that this machine that is playing people in chess isn't real?
It wasn't real, Richard. There was a man inside that machine.
There was a dude in it?
Yeah.
Was he like he was like, I am Oz.
Basically. And it's weird.
Great and powerful.
It's weird how they had it set up. So I think so there's a guy underneath it. So basically like where your tube TV would go.
Okay.
There was a guy inside there and he would have a candle that would shine against the glass.
Uh-huh.
So he could see all the moves happening, and then he'd punch like some certain buttons and mechanical stuff to make the big guy move the pieces that he wanted to move. So there was some mechanics to it, but it wasn't like an automated thing. Like it wasn't, this machine playing a person. It was a person playing a person pretending to be a machine.
See, now I'm picturing like, okay, so so Sean, you're gonna sit down, you're gonna play chess against the Turk, okay? You come in and you sit down at the little chessboard, and then you hear this, and you're like, what is that? And then these giant doors open on the other side, and this huge monstrosity is wheeled in to the other side of the table, and like the eyes glow and smoke comes out of the mouth. I am the Turk. Let us play chess.
Crowds entering. 2 enter, 1 leave. 2 enter, 1 leave.
Is that feet underneath that? Pay no attention to the feet underneath the Turk.
Basically, this is probably where that inspiration came from.
That makes sense. Like smoke's coming out and the lights are lighting up. Who are you? Sean, sir. So did they ever figure it out?
Well, it took a long time. I mean, it made tours. It made the Knights tour. And I'm trying to figure out, I think it was like in 1857 was when they finally figured this out. And I believe that was about the time it caught on fire, like you talked about.
It caught on fire?
Yeah. And it
with the guy, wait a minute, did it catch on fire with the guy inside of it?
Well, it says that the guy was running out and he thought he heard his machine exclaim something. I'm guessing it's German.
You know what happened is he dropped the fucking candle.
Yeah.
So he's in there and he's like sweating balls inside this fucking like hot box basically. He's shining a candle at the window and all of a sudden the candle falls. Like the candle tips over in his hands and he's like, shit. Or it's German, so he's like, Scheiße. So then like the smoke that was coming out of the Turk's mouth and the glowing eyes, it's now like coming out from underneath it. It's like, is this thing gonna blast off? And then you just hear shit.
So during the Knights tour, Kepler would, or Wolfgang von Kepler would, because you couldn't let the guy out because people would be watching, people want to look at it, so he couldn't just let the guy out. So he had to be there like overnight. He had to find his moment to leave.
God.
So Wolfgang
That
is like,
would
all right,
suck so bad.
there's these 6 chicks that are like, oh my God, that's a, if you can build that with your hands, what else can you do?
With your hands. Meanwhile, there's Wolfgang. Wolfgang's the one inside, right?
No, Wolfgang's the inventor. So he'd been the one putting on the show. They had numerous people that operated, I guess.
I see.
There's just a bunch of different like chess masters that they would secretly put in there.
So meanwhile, there's a guy inside the suit like, hey, I'm the one that fucking beat him.
I beat Napoleon.
I beat fucking Benjamin Franklin, and this is the guy that's getting it. Fucking Wolfgang's the guy getting all the tail.
Yeah.
It's not even a real name.
So they close down.
Stupid name.
He takes the 6 chicks back, and he kicks the thing like 3 times, telling Todd's like great uncle Jonah. That's the sign to Jonah to be like, hey, you need to stay in here probably overnight. Because they're sharing a hotel room, and he's like, I don't want Jonah to come interrupt because he's always a buzzkill.
Keep in mind, we're in Florida. It's a bit of a scorcher.
So Jonah's sitting in there. He's like, well, shit, I just got this can of beans here, so I bet I'm going to cook those up because I'm hungry. I'm starving. Like, you can't eat before this because then you fart in here, and it's like you hotbox yourself. It's miserable.
Oh, my God, you totally would. On top of the fact, like I said, like, he's in there. Like, I'm sure, like, just breathing probably is, because you're in there. You're in this, like, small enclosed space. You got this candle. The candle's eating up oxygen. You're eating up oxygen. Like, you're probably taking shallow breaths.
Well, I'm sure it's not like airproof.
Like, you're probably yeah, but I'm saying, like, you're sweating balls in there.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably so hot.
They're like, listen, the night store was awesome, but that box smelled terrible. Well, and you're stuck there too. So, I mean, I'm sure he played multiple games in a night. So you couldn't eat before you go in because he probably made that mistake once. Like, he had a big dinner before going, and like 20 minutes in the first competition, he's like, oh God. Oh. Napoleon's playing. It's like, Wolfgang.
Sacre bleu.
Wolfgang, there seems to be some flatulence coming from your machine. He's like, oh yeah, I added that for comedic effect. Funny, isn't it?
Oh, wow. It even smells lifelike.
And he kicks the box. He's like, oh, I'd hate to have to burn this box, wouldn't I? Turk. But yeah, so Jonah, he's sitting there, gonna eat him some beans, and he knocks over the candle. Of course, this box is probably dried out. It just lights up like, wildfire.
Yeah, like a fucking Christmas tree, just whoosh.
Yeah, and the security guard's like, oh shit, and he hears somebody yelling, help, help, help. And if you think this is a machine, you're gonna freak out. You're like, no machine's gonna yell help. It's alive.
Yeah, because so here you go. So you're a guard. So you're assigned to guard, Wolfgang, he's leaving, he's got his girls, he's walking out the door, and he says to, these 2 guys, he's like, you guys need to guard this machine so nobody steals it. Like, it's a very important piece of technology. This thing is history. This is history in the making, and you're in charge to make sure no one steals it tonight. And so you're like, okay. So you're sitting there, you're on your ever vigilant patrol. You're standing there, and all of a sudden, like, you start to smell smoke. And you're like, what the hell is that? Oh my God, someone set it on fire. And then you hear, help, help, help. And then you're like, oh God, it's self-aware. This is how it starts. It's Skynet. The Turk is Skynet.
Hurries up and throws more gasoline or whatever they use for their torches to burn it quicker.
Yeah. They're stabbing. So the 2 guards turn and they're just hacking at this thing. He's like, no, it's I'm gonna die in here.
Bleeding. It's like, oh God, it's bleeding. We're killing it. Let's see. So it made its debut in 1770 at the Schönbrunn Palace. It was about 6 months after Wolfgang saw that first illusion act. So Wolfgang Capellan put on this big thing. So he addressed the court. He shows them the machine, and he says the Turk is going to play with the white pieces and will have the first move. And at this point, he would then, I guess the Turk would then nod twice, and Oh, I'm sorry. This is if he was threatening its opponent's queen. So he had a lot of stuff. Like it would, nod its head twice.
So basically, it was all like a bunch of like, like it would give signals to say what to move and where to move it.
No, I mean there was like a whole mechanical thing underneath it that the guy controlling it. It's almost like you think like, it could use the
like
hand
I'm thinking
somehow.
of it as like a giant puppet, like Jabba the Hutt. There's like a guy inside. There's a guy inside Jabba the Hutt that's like they're in Return of the Jedi. There were three guys. There were three guys inside Jabba the Hutt. There was one guy making the head move. There was one guy with making the arms move, and then there was the third guy making the tail move.
I gotcha.
So I'm imagining this is like one guy making this giant metal monstrosity like move, and depending on how it moves is how you're supposed to move the chess pieces.
No, maybe. Let me see. Because there's like a big stick that looks like it would like move the pieces.
Oh, I see. So it had like a stick, and the stick would come out, and the stick would move it.
Yeah, I believe that's how it works. So he kind of like control it that way. Let's see. So, but depending on certain situations, it would kind of nod its head. So if it was threatening the queen, it'd nod 3 times. If it was the king, it'd nod twice. To kind of give it more of a realistic type of a view.
Okay, interesting. So so then like eventually like would come up with other gestures, like "fuck you, I won," or "fuck you, you lost."
Yeah, and it won
like
fair amount because he was
brings
going
up its
through.
hands like whoop.
Because he would go and he found chess masters to sit in this box. Because where else would you get to play like Napoleon and beat Napoleon and not die?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Because he's the inventor of the Napoleon complex.
They say he actually wasn't that short. He was about the same. He was about like the size of most people back then. Because most
I've heard that too. Yeah.
I wonder if it just comes from the fact that I know he liked all his paintings to be him on a horse.
Or maybe I don't know, maybe because he was, towards the end, I think he was kind of he was kind of universally thought of as, even today he's still kind of universally thought of as a bit of a joke.
Oh, I gotcha.
I think that maybe stems from like, they were like, "Oh yeah, and he's short too." Like, is he that short? Oh, he's short.
Oh,
fuck short people.
That was like what do you call that?
It was like they were like slandering him.
Yeah.
I heard he has a tiny penis. Like, hey.
So let's talk since we're on Napoleon the First of France. Is that the same Napoleon? I assume it would be.
Was there a Napoleon the Second?
I didn't want to show my ignorance of history. Like, Napoleon the First was his father.
No, I'm asking. It said Napoleon the First?
I imagine if he's gonna be Napoleon the First, let's see. I don't see any children. He had no children.
So he just had to put the first. He just had to put the first in his name, just to like. I am the first. So the one and only.
So Napoleon the First, he arrives at the Schönbrunn Palace to play the Turk, and according to eyewitnesses, they prepared the game. The Turk was in one room, and Napoleon, I guess, was in like a roped off area away from it, and he was not allowed to cross into the Turk's area.
That's kind of ballsy. Like, order the fucking emperor of the Prussian fucking empire around.
Well, I don't know if that was like his doing or what it was.
Like, you can't come in here, and he's like, "Fuck you, I'm Napoleon. Yeah. I'll invade Russia if I want, even in the winter." I don't think that's gonna work out that well. What do you know? Are you the first? No, I'm the first.
This is kind of funny. So. Yeah, so they're sitting in different rooms, and one of these guys, Mazel, I'm not sure if he owned it at this point or if he was just kind of going back and forth. And this was before people knew it was a hoax. So Napoleon.
So they're all still thinking. So for them, they're like, "Oh my God, fucking, this is the Turk from Zanzibar.
Yeah,
he's gonna come and he's gonna kick our emperor's ass in chess."
And so Napoleon sits down. Of course, he knows, like, okay, so the Turk always goes first. So what's Napoleon do to be Napoleon? He makes the first move.
Well, of course he does.
Yeah.
He's like, "Fuck you."
And let me back up. So apparently when Napoleon showed up too, the Turk saluted him. So somehow they built it so that he could salute Napoleon.
Yeah, because they're probably like, I don't know how crazy he is, but I think we should make this thing salute, because if it doesn't, even though it's not real, there's a chance he might cut off its head. That's my head's in that head. Exactly.
Napoleon's coming in like he's not believing this. This is the kid that takes like the controller and just hits X consistently. So he makes the first move, which wasn't because the Turk usually took the first move, but the guy running the game allowed that to happen. And I guess after that point, Napoleon decided to make an illegal move. He's like, I move the queen all the way to the end. I win.
Damn. So fuck you, I'm Napoleon.
Yeah, and I guess the response from the Turk is it knocked all the pieces off the board.
Oh, shit.
So there's some chess dude and there's like, well, fuck this. No one's going to know I'm in here. He hits the abort button and knocks all the pieces off the table. I imagine.
And then meanwhile, there's people gathered around like, did that robot just get pissed off?
Well, I imagine Mazel is probably got to be freaking out at this point because you have Napoleon trying to cheat. And you're like, oh, yeah, great move, Napoleon. Good job. And all of a sudden the machine knocks it off. He's like, so what's the shit with your machine, huh? Your machine doesn't like me? Your machine doesn't want to play with me?
Fuck that machine.
You know what I do with people that don't want to play with me?
Cut off their heads.
Do you want your head cut off? I'll cut your head off.
By the way, that was a shitty salute. That was a shitty-ass salute.
He's like, make the machine dance. If the machine can't dance, you're going to lose your head.
Oh, God.
And I guess there's alternates to this, but apparently Napoleon actually got amused by this. So, in our universe, he's playing along. He's teasing Mazel, being like, oh, you're going to die. You're going to die, Mazel, unless you can make this monkey dance.
Yeah, do it. I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, he's like, is that piss? Did you piss yourself? You did, didn't you?
Oh, I got this on my phone. I'm going to totally Vine it.
But I guess then they actually played a real game, and it was 9 moves before Napoleon tipped over his king and surrender. So the machine beat Napoleon.
In 9 moves?
19.
Oh, 19. I was like, shit.
And there are alternate stories that Napoleon actually wasn't happy about this. So maybe Napoleon's the one that set this thing on fire. He's like, fuck that machine.
I hate stupid chess playing machines. This is dumb. This whole thing's stupid. He probably was about ready to lose the first game too, so he was like, I'm gonna move my queen over here. Ha ha ha, I'm so funny. Okay, we'll do a real game in a minute. I need to go outside for some air.
Just goes outside and goes,
fuck you, Turk!
Every goddamn time.
Maybe that's why he did invade Russia in the winter, because he was just so pissed off. He was trying to hurry and get to the Middle East.
Yeah.
like that one chess match soured him on his entire reaction to the Arab world. And so he's like, I'm just, fuck it. We're attacking Russia because I want to be sipping, I want to be sipping tea in Iraq by the end of the year. Goddamn Turks.
One of his advisors like, sir, they just called it that. It's not actually from there. I don't give a fuck.
And by the way, let's get rid of all the birds. You mean Turkey, sir? Yes. What country are they from? They're from America, sir. They're not from Turkey. That's what they. Oh God, we're all gonna die in Russia.
So I mean this machine's going all over the place. So I mean this goes back in the time where there just wasn't enough stuff to keep people interested. So I mean, like, you hear this magic box that can play chess, you're like, holy shit, I'm gonna spend 10 cents to go see this thing.
So you're saying it was kind of like a parlor trick in a way.
It definitely
was.
Well,
I mean, like, it's sold as a parlor trick. Like, they're like, come see the like, there's a guy standing outside with a top hat and a red coat going, come see the magnificent Turk. Think you can beat the Turk at chess? Well, I don't know if you can. This has faced Napoleon. It has faced Benjamin Franklin. It has faced the founders of countries and the leaders of nations. And has it won every single game, except for that one when Napoleon fucked up and moved his queen in a fucked up way. But we don't count that.
He's dead now, so we can say that.
He's dead now because he's a terrible strategician. Waterloo That chess game was his that second chess game was his Waterloo, if you catch my drift.
So Mazel, I think he was like the second owner again of this. So kind of bouncing back, when this machine was sold, it was sold with the secrets. So it's like, hey, I'm selling you this machine. Here's how it actually works. It's like, I don't know.
Oh, so he eventually sold the machine.
Yeah, at some point.
Wait a minute, what happened? What happened when they found the guy screaming for help inside the thing when it caught on fire?
Well, this was years later. So this is pre the machine, burning. So this would have been like 1826. So this is like 20 some years before that.
So the machine burned, and then they built another one, or they fixed up the old one. What happened when they found out, like, oh God, there's a guy inside of it?
I don't know. So that happened like in 1857.
Okay.
So we've kind of Tarantino'd it. So that's like the end of the story where it burns.
Oh, okay.
And we've kind of gone back in time.
Okay.
So
later on, so the ending of this is it catches on fire. There's a guy There's a guy inside that's like, help, and that's when everybody figures out, oh, there's a guy inside of it.
Yeah, basically at that point, that's when it was revealed that, hey, this is a hoax, kind of how it worked.
I see. Okay,
but
so 30 years before that,
yes, and I think this is its second. Yeah, this is its second owner. So when it played Napoleon, Mazel, I think, was the one. He either owned it or he was kind of like managing it on this, this big trip.
Right. So at this point, it's like a carnival ride.
Yeah, it's exactly like
Wolfgang, that. Wolfgang is the carny of the chess world.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
He's sitting in a chair, and he's like, come on, play the Turk. Are you buckled in? Okay, let's hit the button.
Well, it sounds like they drew big crowds. I mean, if you were selling tickets for Napoleon Bonaparte playing this machine, I mean, you could sell a lot of tickets for that.
Yeah, that's true.
And even probably afterwards be like, hey, come see the machine. I beat Napoleon.
Yeah. I think the Benjamin Franklin thing is a bigger coup. Because, I mean, Napoleon obviously not known for strategy, but Benjamin Franklin was revered as one of the greatest thinkers of our time, or of that era.
And they don't really talk much about the Benjamin Franklin part, because in 1826 it made its way to the States, and it was in an open exhibit in New York City, and it slowly started growing. So people started seeing it, putting it in newspapers, and Mazel had trouble finding somebody who could actually run the machine.
Not a lot of chess masters in America.
Apparently not. But he found William Schlumberger. He brought him in from Europe to be the director of this machine.
Okay.
So they got in Boston. I guess they played. It lost a match to Charles Carroll, who was a signer of the Declaration of Independence.
Oh.
So it lost, like you said, it lost to a freedom fighter.
Yeah. Damn.
It lost while it was in Baltimore to this guy, and another famous person that came across this was Edgar Allan Poe. He was a guy who watched.
Really?
Yeah, he was a guy who observed this happening. He never played it, but he watched it, and he actually wrote an essay on it, trying to hypothesize how it actually worked.
You know what? I totally believe that, because I think Poe would have been fucking fascinated with this thing, trying to figure out, okay, you know how you were saying, like, when we look at magic tricks, like on television or something like that, or on the internet or whatever, we look at magic tricks today, and we're not, I mean, we do have a sense of awe, but it's more like, how the hell did he do that? I'm going to try and sit here and figure this out. Poe, I think, probably had the same attitude. Like, he probably didn't go like, oh my God, this is, a marvel unto modern man. He was probably thinking like, how the fuck did they pull that off? And you know why?
Genius.
No, because he's a time traveler.
Yeah, I've always heard that rumor. Like, that's the guy who would always come to his grave. That was actually him. I've heard that.
Yeah. Because he's a time traveler, Sean.
That just recently stopped too, like 4 or 5 years ago, right?
I think so. Maybe that's when he figured out how to build a time machine and finally travel back.
Maybe, yeah.
It's the bootstrap paradox. Maybe there was no Edgar Allan Poe until this guy traveled back and became Edgar Allan Poe.
So he read all the stories of Edgar Allan Poe and went back in time and wrote them.
Yeah. You ever heard that? It's called the bootstrap paradox. Let's say that you are Beethoven's biggest fan. Okay? This is a Doctor Who thing. In fact, he explains the whole there's an episode of Doctor Who where he explains the whole thing, and he's like, it's called the bootstrap paradox. Google it. So he says, let's say you're Beethoven's biggest fan, and all you want is to get Beethoven to sign a copy of that you have Beethoven's Fifth Symphony on a record, and you want him to sign your record. So you figure out how to build a time machine, and you build a time machine, and you travel back to Vienna in whatever year Beethoven was composing his symphonies. And you go around and you ask around, and no one has ever heard of Ludwig van Beethoven. He doesn't exist. However, you remembered to bring all of your copies of Beethoven's sheet music. So you take that sheet music, you copy it down word for word or note for note, you copy everything down, and you get them published, and you basically become Ludwig van Beethoven. So that way, because you're so distraught that the world might not have Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, that you copy the symphony down yourself and get it published. So therefore, you are Ludwig van Beethoven. Now here's the paradox. Who originally wrote that symphony? Eventually, those notes had to come from somewhere. Somebody had to have originally written the notes, right? Somebody had to have written the notes that became Beethoven's symphony in order for you to copy it. You had to copy it from somewhere. You couldn't. Did you just copy it from yourself, from yourself, from yourself?
Well, would it be maybe the first run? Maybe there was actually a Beethoven, but you going back basically killed the actual Beethoven.
Well, like your time machine landed on him?
Yeah, like the Wicked Witch of the West.
Ooh.
No, I think more like, so like you get back that time where there's no Beethoven and there's an actual Beethoven about to start writing, but then you come out before him.
Okay.
So you basically kind of like nullify.
You shove him out of the way.
Yeah, pretty much. Unintentionally.
It's possible.
Like you write the Fifth Symphony while he's still working on the Fourth, and you're like, God damn it. It's like this guy every single time he writes the one I was about to write.
But okay, but by that respect, he's never actually written the Fifth Symphony because he saw you do it.
Yeah, but then you're in a Back to the Future timeline. So Beethoven's timeline's here. When you go back in time, now your timeline is here.
No, you can't explain it like, if you're going to explain it like that, you have to sound like Doc Brown.
I can't sound like
Marty, here's what happened. Well, timeline skewed off into this alternate timeline. Anyway, what the hell are we talking about?
Let's see. So, So I mean, there is kind of a curse, it seems, that's tied to this. So as they're in the States, it went as far west as the Mississippi River.
Damn.
When they were touring this thing. So it went on like an international tour.
Yeah.
They took it to Cuba.
I was going to say 1700s. That was probably the extent of our, of what we consider to be civilization at that point. We didn't really have anything like that established beyond the Mississippi.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that would have been before the kind of the gold rushes and everything. So Mississippi was kind of the...
Yeah.
And, I mean, you wouldn't take it to any of, like, the Indian camps because they probably wouldn't know what chess is, I would assume.
Or they would think it's an evil spirit and try and kill it.
But they made 2 trips to Havana, and on the second trip, the director, Schellenberger, died of yellow fever. Hopefully not inside the machine.
Oh, God. Yeah, because wouldn't you hate to be the next guy that climbed into that thing?
Well, like, he died during a game, and it's just like, he keeps trying to move the pawn to the same spot. He opens it up, his head is just against the one button.
Until the rigor mortis sets in, and then the stick doesn't move at all. Then you're trying to move it yourself, and it's not. It's okay. He doesn't actually die until he grabs his pants.
So Mazel decided then to go back, and he died at sea at the age of 66. So the Turk fell into the hands of the captain. The ship captain was the one who controlled it. So in the final years of this machine, this is where we get to where I guess it kind of burnt up.
Okay.
Mazel's machine, so he's one of the other owners, including the Turk, fell into the hands of his friend John Ohl. He tried to sell him and actually sold the Turk for $400. And the only person who bid on it
Damn,
was...
that's a decent chunk of money then.
Let's see.
I wonder how much money those guys made with this thing. I'm sure it's a decent amount.
So $400 in 1860 would have been about 11 grand.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I'm trying to think of what the equivalent would be. I mean, you think like the very first, like let's say the very first King Kong machine. I'm sure that would sell for about 11 grand.
Oh, I bet it'd sell for more than that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, probably. So I mean, put that in equivalent to that.
Yeah.
So the only person that bid on it was John Kersley Mitchell from Philadelphia. This guy was actually Edgar Allan Poe's personal physician and really, really admired the Turk.
Right, and then he's like, "I'm gonna figure out what the deal with this is."
Yeah,
and I'm gonna tell Poe told me if I could figure this out, that he'd let me go time traveling with him.
Maybe that's why the fire happened. So let's read through this. So he basically put together a group of people to try and restore the Turk for public appearances. Interest started to grow, and so people started donating money to the Chinese museum, is where he was keeping it.
Okay.
And then eventually it was put off into the corner, I guess, in this museum on July 5th of 1854. So there wasn't a person in it. I hope there wasn't a person in it.
I really do, because like eventually like they open it up and there's just a body.
He's been there for 16 years. But it was put off into the side of the theater, and that's when the fire happened.
Maybe that's why they put it off to the side, because it started to smell.
Yeah, probably. The body was decaying. But that's the creepy thing. So Mitchell, the guy who bought it, he believed he heard, and this is in quotes, "Through the struggling flames, the last words of our departed friend, the sternly whispered, oft-repeated syllables, echt, echt," which I believe they had put in some kind of voice box in this machine. So that basically meant like checkmate. So as this thing is burning, it's basically saying checkmate, checkmate.
That's fucking creepy.
Yeah, it is.
That's a creepy ass ending.
And I think after that point, it burnt down. I think Mitchell and them, like through different chess magazines and chess essays, they would kind of share what they have found of that and like how it worked.
Did they find the body? Did they find the body of the Turk? Maybe the Turk survived.
Yeah.
Maybe because it was like checkmate, checkmate, and then everybody turned away, and then the Turk escaped.
Maybe it's like a genie. So the one guy who beat it, the guy who signed the Declaration of Independence, Charles Carroll, maybe he got like some type of thing out of defeating this.
Yeah.
He's like, "What do you want? I want a free America."
And I want to sign it.
Fuck the British. But like, you think today, like, what kind of game like would you have that? I mean, because
I'm imagining that as the other Declaration of Independence.
Fuck the British.
Like Thomas Jefferson, he sits down and he's like, And he just writes "fuck the British" in big letters and underlines it. And he's like, "Nah, I guess it should be more eloquent." And what? Like, that was the first draft. The first draft is just "fuck the British."
He pulled that out and they all laughed. Like,
no, seriously, we can't do that.
We want to be taken seriously.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
Let's just sit it off to the side and see what happens.
Did you mail that? Holy shit, did you mail that? Ben, did you mail that? I was drunk at the time. I thought this is what we were doing.
I was gonna say, good thing they didn't have like email back then. He's like, "Oh shit, did I hit send all? Did I hit reply all?"
Oh God.
The Queen's gonna be so pissed when she reads this.
Oh, it's from that lovely Franklin boy. Fuck the British.
It's him to have like a dick pic.
It's a dick butt.
I call it the Big Frank.
Or the Big James. Because this is King James. Huh?
But like, so think about like today, like what kind of game do you think like that somebody could get away with this? You know, I mean, anymore you have, you know, video games where you're already playing against like UI.
So you're wanting to know what game could you play against a machine that's actually a person?
Well, I mean, so we have computerized games. So we have like the chess machine, but there's nothing that doesn't run on any kind of like electricity or computing power. You know, do you think there's anything like that could happen today?
I think it would require a lot of effort and a lot more skill than I think most, if not all, people possess. Because basically, you're talking about making a completely mechanical robot, not a robot, a mechanical robot, like something that doesn't really run on electricity
or computing power, yeah,
or computing power. It runs on wheels and gears. Like, I don't think that's actually, I don't think anybody's even conceived of that. I don't think you could find something. I don't think you could build today. I don't think, and well, today and ever, you can't build a robot mechanically that's completely autonomous.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking kind of like a steampunk type thing.
Steampunk robot.
Steampunk chest robot.
Yeah.
Checkmate.
It shoots people in the face. Knight to Queen's Rook 3, bitch.
But that was a story I thought was kind of interesting because it just plays on a few different things. So I guess if you don't have anything to add, do you have any Richard's closing thoughts?
What did we learn today? I think we learned that man is always up for being duped. We're yearning for something that's bigger than ourselves.
I think that's a good thought because, I mean, we really do want mystery in our life. We want to figure everything out, but we don't want to figure everything out.
It probably would have been more profound if I didn't phrase it like a question.
I'm Richard. All right, well, I'll do a little housekeeping.
Yeah, like that.
All right, visit our website. We're at languageofbromance.com. Follow us on Twitter. We're at languageofbro. Email us at eatthebeaver@languageofbromance.com. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe and leave a review on Google Play Music, iTunes, and Stitcher.
And don't forget to check us out on the Pop Rose Network,
the best podcast site on the internet, where I've read and heard that you will never be duped. We are full frontal, lay it all on the line. No, there's no man hiding underneath any boxes in that place.
Yeah, if there's one thing we are, it's full frontal.
And if you want to join our LOB army, go to our Patreon accounts, www.patreon.com/languageofbromance. Bunch of different tiers. We probably have to add a new tier for Richard to get some cough medicine. I think we need a medic like level so we can get some good medicine for us whenever we get sick.
I know I've been sniffling this entire time. It's been quite disconcerting.
All right, was there anything else before I close her out?
No, I need to get to bed.
All right. Well, that's all the bromance we have this show. I'm Sean.
And I'm Richard.
And I say we eat the beaver.
Wait a minute. The beaver to Queen's Rook 3.
Checkmate, beaver.
Yeah. Checkmate. Checkmate.